Lovely to see so many people here for this final session. That's amazing. And thank you all so much for sticking with us. I promise you it's going to be a great close. Right, so starting our final session of the day is the CEO and founder of Format 3, a digital product consultancy with offices amazingly in London and Nashville. So it must be the one and only that I can think of with those two particular locations as its two main locations for its business. Previously spent 3.5 years as AKQA as its director of product development, or Hardy, is that right? AKQA, senior position. And he'll be talking about the ever-increasing importance of design in business as a source of lasting competitive advantage. So as such, can we welcome Hardy Sidhu to our stage, please? Hardy.
Thank you. Clicky thing. Everyone can hear me good? I did not need a microphone, but they insisted that I needed a microphone. So, I'm Harry, sometimes regarded as Hardy. Feel free to switch it up. Harry, Hardy, I don't really care. Designer, CEO, founder, businessman, I don't really care. I'm a guy that likes to drink pints, do good work, and talk good stuff. So that's what I'm here for today, to give you a little breakdown into who I am, what I do, but also give you some of my life lessons in business and how I end up getting here. To give you a little bit of context, I am not your usual academic. I'm not your usual person that would be on this position. I have just been on a little bit of a hustle grind last 15, 17 years, and I've learned a lot of life experiences getting to this point. And one of the things that I've seen that I wanted to talk to you guys today and do a little bit of my job around is explaining that there's an invisible wall that's happened between designers, developers, engineers, project managers, anyone that is capital A developer, everyone that's studied 2000s agile training understands what a developer is, anyone actually working on the product. There's been an invisible wall that they lock themselves behind and don't break down to actually lead business. And I was like questioning this for a long time, and then it got to a point where I've been leading product design teams across Europe, across the States, to a point where I created my own agency, and we've been across the Middle East, Europe, and now Nashville, as you said. And I've realized we got to start thinking about business. Like, everyone keeps talking about the same shit, which is AI. And I'm sorry if everyone has come here to talk about AI and listen to AI today. We're not talking about AI. Yes, the plug for Format 3, we do AI apps and products and stuff. So if you need that stuff, please contact us afterwards. I always have to make money, sorry. Kevin talked enough stuff about AI, so hopefully that covered all the ground. I'm also sick because of Kevin, so everyone can blame him if I sniffle and all that kind of stuff on today's talk. Blank slide. Cover slide. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Little couple of disclaimers. I am sorry, the slides upcoming are going to be very ugly. We are a design agency. We do a lot of visual porn, beautiful stuff. But these slides are absolutely horrible because I did them on the train yesterday coming up to Edinburgh. And I know the guys at DIBI were stressing about that. They're asking me where the slides are. I was like, I don't know. I don't know where these slides are. They're going to come out at some point. But we managed to put something together. Don't judge. If you like pretty visual stuff, again, another plug, visit format3.co. There'll be lots of pretty stuff on there. Another disclaimer I'd like to add before I get started as well. I am going to approach the conversation from much more of a philosophical point of view. Yes, I have been a designer in my past. Yes, I'm a CEO. Yes, I sit on the board of many companies at the moment. But at the heart of me, I'm a philosopher. I'm a historian. I'm a spiritual man. I'm a man that looks at the world and questions it. And that's the place that I come from as a human being. And that's the place that I want to talk to you guys around, thinking beyond the aesthetic as well. I don't want to talk to you guys just as your roles. I see everybody here as an individual person. I want to talk to you guys as that as well. So to start with, without saying you're a designer, sorry, I thought this was more designers, developers, and whoever you are here. Without saying what your actual role title is, who are you? Who is you? Go ahead and shout it out. Fucking, there's no one here. Anybody? You're an anarchist. Oh. Anybody else? A what? Oh. Anybody? I know you're a creator. You just the whole talk about creating. Anybody else? Wow. Okay. So I am a philosopher. I call myself much more less of a digital leader nowadays and much more of a digital philosopher. I'm a questioner. And most of this presentation is going to be questions, because that's the best way I like to talk about things. I'm going to throw it back to you guys most of the time. So apologies if you are tired after the brownies. But we also, I'm gathering on this point here today because we limit ourselves based on the role titles that we have in organizations. We wake up at 8 o'clock, go shower, go to work, do the job. But why? Why do we do that? Why do we do what we do? I know I got into design because I love to solve problems. I love to solve challenges. I didn't go to university and these kind of things because I just realized at 15, holy fuck, I like problems. And that's me. My whole life has been a fucking problem, and I love it. And I was like, what better thing to do than solve them for companies and make some money from it? And that's what I did. But a lot of us are facing that invisible wall of, oh, we shouldn't get involved in the growth of a company, because we shouldn't worry about their products, and we should just focus around the things that we do, and then bitch and moan about them at the pub afterwards. How many of you have spent your evenings bitching and moaning at a pub about your CEO? Probably loads, right? Oh, he's gone crazy. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, he's lost his mind. Oh my God, I hate this place, and then stay there for another 4 years. That's the typical thing, but we limit ourselves because of that volatile. I'm going to speak about that in reference to one of my recent heroes from the land of Punjab. His name is Sidhu. Sidhu was, if you ask him 5 years ago, he was an actor, very well-famed, multi-million-dollar actor from Punjab in Bollywood. He studied in London for law school. Murdered 2 years ago because he got into politics, a big revolutionary, but they'd asked him, why are you getting involved in politics in the land of India? He goes, because I must, because I care, because I want to. He didn't say that he's not going to get involved because he's an actor. He said he's going to get involved because he gives a shit. How many of you give a shit about what you do and the things you build and design? One person. I'm joking, there's a couple more. But that's my biggest reference. It's like, don't think of yourself, you can't impact something and can't do something within your organization just because they've given you a role and a description of what you do. Be more like Sidhu. Say, fuck this, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to shake something up, I'm going to stand in, I'm going to fucking cause a revolution in this place. As a designer, can you not shape the future of your business? Can you not create your own business? Can you not impact the conversations that you're having in your organization around business? Is a question. What is design in the modern day without business? That's a question. I know we live in a fluffy land and say businesses can't exist without design. Design is the biggest empowerment for the company. Without them, they were going to die. But without business, we're not going to be here. How the fuck are we going to afford a train here? How the fuck are we going to have dinner afterwards and pay for pints without business? It makes no sense. Business allows us as designers to have the reach we want with the things we build the products that we want to build. And also, because we like to talk about AI, fund expensive as fuck AI servers. Somebody's got to pay for those servers. They cost a shit ton. Does anybody know how much they cost to run for like 20,000 users? This man knows. And on the flip side of that, though, design allows businesses to engage and interact with customers, build moments of brand experience, and ship the fucking thing they've been stressing about. It's kind of both play hand in hand. It's a double side of a coin that we have to address. We can't just look at one side and ignore the other side. By designing, we are aiding businesses, and businesses are aiding and want design to allow them to enable and thrive and grow and scale. And we have to think about it in that perspective. Without the money, we can't build for the user. We must understand how our work as designers enables money so we can do what designers do best, which is collectively aim for success, both financially and purposely for the products and things that we build. Anybody read this book? Seat at the Table, very famous book. This man, Gary, has. Really famous book about how IT and development engineers get a seat at the table into leadership. and I know this is going to piss someone off, but I have to say it because I did have a coffee about it. Angela was talking about the seat earlier in the presentation. I've had a theory and a philosophy around, fuck the seat, let's get a fucking piece of the table. How do we get a piece of the table? I don't want a seat. I have plenty of seats. I go home, eat with my woman, I got seats everywhere. I don't want that. I want to have a piece of that table. But how do we enable conversations to have a piece of the table? Because a lot of time, we're talking in the sense of designers, we're talking in the sense of developers, we're not talking in the model of being business people, we're talking about creative stuff, and business people don't understand that. And that's not how businesses operate. But we are problem solvers and not just creators. Business has a lot of problems. Has a lot of, fuck me, I'm running a startup for 3 years, I know what problems are. There's problems constantly. But the problem that we're having in design at the moment is that design looks like this. Oh, like it's all like very snowflake stuff, like how we feel, and oh my God, the user, oh, poor them, or we must design for them, oh, they need something. And it's like, how much does the CEO and those stakeholders actually care about that stuff? They don't really care about that stuff. That's what designers care about. But that's what our toolkit looks like at the moment. It looks like personas, it looks like user journeys, empathy maps, etc., etc. Yes, very good stuff. I'm not saying don't stop doing this. It's very important. But the point is, to start getting a piece of that table, we have to start widening. Oh wait, this is a great slide. I forgot about this one. The stakeholders look at us like that. How many of you feel like you're being looked at like you're in a kindergarten? The design team themselves, they're with their crayons, they got their post-it notes, and they're like having a lot of fun, finger painting and shit. Fucking kindergarten, that's what they see. But we need to get away from being seen as that if we want a piece of that table. And that needs to start widening our toolkit. We need to start thinking about business portfolios, business models, cash and profits, losses. Think about financials, like what are we building and what are the products that we're building? How does that actually aid business? That toolkit needs to widen if you want a piece of that table. If you just come for the seat and talk about your fluffy stuff, you're not really going to impact and drive the motivation for a business to go ahead and do the things that you want to see done in this world. Do you, in this room, know how the thing that you are designing is actually aiding and driving revenue at the company that you're working at? Anybody? Monzo? You do? Yeah? Okay, good. Is that a majority of people? Oh, fuck them. Nah, I'm joking. But it's very crucial that we do understand how things that we design drive money. If we don't understand that, then we're no point building stuff, because then how many times have we found situations where we have Figma designs sitting there for like 8 months, 10 months, and end up in the portfolio of a designer? Pointless, absolutely pointless. And that sometimes leads to the burn situation. Companies burn a ton of money, and this has been an economical problem that we've been facing. One that Format 3 was built out of to understand the economical shift that happened. Companies hire out a 100-man design team, 50-man design team, and they're just burning through money. They're getting people to build things that don't actually drive revenue and growth, don't actually deliver on the value and return on investment they need. They burn through cash, and then us as an industry say, fuck, why are we all redundant? Because we haven't enabled the companies to make money. If they made more money, we have money. It's a simple play-forth situation. If you prove the return on investment, how can they fire you? They need you to grow. But the people, we're getting made redundant because we're not showing value, because we're not having the discussions at the table. That's the conflict that's happening at the moment. And I've seen it too much happen where money is just being burnt. Designers are doing things that actually are not driving any value in terms of business. And that comes twofold. Oh my God, sorry, I converted these from Figma slides into PowerPoint. I should have checked, and Katie did say, I'm sorry. But it's twofold between product and revenue. We have to start understanding the cost of acquisition. Is there a ROI to the thing that we are building? Loads of times we talk about ROI in terms of like, it's something the user needs, something the user wants, but what is the actual financial return on investment for that thing? How's that going to benefit? We've got to look at it from time to value. Will this help planned growth objectives? We have quarterly objectives that we're trying to hit. Should we build this thing now, or should we build it later, versus the thing that we should build that hit that monthly objective that we're trying to hit from a business growth perspective? And then finally, the impact to reach. Do our customers and prospects actually want this thing? Yes, We all struggle with that. We all make biases and think that this is what they want, but is it actually what they want, and are they actually going to pay for it is a question. Don't start with that process of design, but start asking with the questions. And now I'm going to say something that might piss a lot of prospect clients off that may be in this room, but I must say it, and if you don't get pissed off, please contact me afterwards. We need to be the bully who backs a business into the corner, but for their own good. Anybody remember Temper Tea from 2000s? Oh, no, I realize I'm very far. Yes, Temper Tea. This is my reference. I was like writing this deck on the train. I was like, yeah, we need more Temper Tea. Just more like, but what the fuck are we doing? Let's do something fucking good. And let's actually drive some business. And that led me to my 3 W's. Most of you have probably heard the 4 whys. Why, what, and all that kind of stuff. But I've formalized my own 3 whys of what? What's the smart idea someone has created? Why are we listening to them? And what? Hold on a minute. Hold on. What are you actually fucking trying to do here? And I've taken this 3 whys into my business proposals, and I've taken into my approach for how I deal with businesses and startups, and been pretty successful. We've raised millions in startups over the last 2 years, working with this model of just backing them into the corner and be like, oh, hold on, guys, chill out. What are we doing? What is this thing? Why are we doing it? And what? Just a simple human aspect of what? What is it? What are we trying to achieve? And we've done that with Streamler. I did realize after I did the presentation that I should have maybe counted out some client names, but we are here and we are transparent. But we took this approach with Streamler. They were a sports engagement platform that were operating for about 6 years in Chicago. They had funding, so they ran for about 6 months of capital runway. We got in contact with them, and then they had approximately 4 months of runway left before they were going to close shop after 6 years because they had no clients, no revenue, no more future investments. And I came to them with a simple question, like, give me the money. Very bold move, give me all your capital runway left. And from that, it took a little bit of time, a lot of beers, building the trust up with them, but they gave us the capital runway they had left because they had no other choice. They were about to pull the plug out on the startup. And this was the situation that they had. They had a current problem of where they were doing betting, chat room, social stuff, games, polls, ads, everything. They had building out all of these features for 1.5 years, 2 years each. Remember, they don't have a single client, a single customer, and they had built all this stuff out from design to development. Bonkers. I looked at it, I was like, how are you just sitting on a bunch of cool shit and like nobody wants it, nobody's buying it? And the solution was looking at it, what do the broadcasters and the leagues and the teams actually want? We found out they actually wanted public chat rooms. These guys were building out private chat rooms. I was like, why are you doing that? Because it's a cool thing and we think it's going to be cool. I was like, no, let's apply the W's. What? Hold on a minute. It's cool. Nope, let's burn it. Let's transition that into a public chat room. And then ads. People, broadcasters, sport leagues, they all wanted a bit of advertisement spots as the rights for leagues and stuff are getting more expensive. So we had to start monetizing that more, and that's what the market wanted. But for some reason, they had built out this whole suite. So within the first 3 months, I told them, burn all of that, let's stop working all of that, and let's focus down on what's actually going to drive some money for the company. Can you take a guess what happened? Big success. Big, huge. By the 6th month, we had conversations and agreements lined up with NFL, Masters, Kaizen Gaming, and NASCAR. This is the same company that was about to pull their plug after 4 or 5 months of running for 6 years. And because of that, I told them to buy me a pint every time I go to Chicago now. But it's to come back to the point of take your chunk at the table, don't take a seat, bully them into a corner, really question what are they doing and why they're doing it, and really scrutinize it and become an authoritative voice within business that can drive money. Once it drives money, then you can start building out the cool stuff. It's not just how we think, though, it's how we talk. And dyslexic will tell you about vocabulary now. We need to expand our vocabulary to have the right conversations as well for the desired effect. We're not talking in a manner that's actually being heard by stakeholders and C-level executives. But we need to be a little bit more Shakespeare of how we actually communicate and talk about business with the stakeholders. We need to reframe how we talk about the opportunities that we have in design. How many of you guys have had the problem recently of our stakeholders don't understand what we do as design? They don't see the value that we provide. And most of that comes down to conversations that we've had with large health tech companies in the US. It's like, what are you saying? They go, we need a design system, it'll be easier. It's like, stakeholder's not going to get that. A business person's not going to get that. But how you should be reframing that, if we invest X amount of dollar in a design system, we'll save X amount of time moving forward. Same with, we need to start testing our solutions because UX. We need to validate early so we can reduce burn revenue on features that do not deliver on expected revenue. We need more designers. Obviously, that's the common case for design teams, always needing more designers. But we should dedicate X amount of budget towards these new resources which will help us achieve Y and generate X in revenue incomes. This is how we start thinking about that and reframing the conversation from a point of a designer to a point of a business leader. And once we start changing that vocabulary, we can start effectively having the right conversations to build the right fucking things. Talk the monies with the monies people. And that vocabulary can be embedded into the 3 areas. I think there's 3 areas if you guys are to walk away with strategies of where you should be communicating. All right, cool, you go back to your organization and go, I want my seat and my table. What areas of conversation you should be diving into? You should be diving into the revenue streams of the company. You should be diving into the business objectives. And also the business culture, bringing that C-level closer to you as you get closer to them. That's how you effectively have a conversation that starts talking about business and not product as a design thing and a pretty thing that's living on your Figma, however beautiful that prototype is. And that comes back to my point of design business, not cool shit, because great business will output cool shit. Thank you. Bang on time.
You were, thank you. So I really enjoyed the talk. Thank you very much. And you're obviously a very colorful presenter, to say the least, which is great. that is a compliment. What I was thinking to myself is that, I mean, it's probably a message that, I mean, we have this kind of, it seems, never-ending battle between effectively money people who can't appreciate the big idea, they just appreciate the money. So basically their answer to everything is, how do I spend less? Yeah. Even if I actually spent a little more, I could make it a lot better, right? And then on the opposite side, you have people with the big idea or people who are, well, I guess product. Is that it's just, I guess what I'm wondering is like, is your recommendations towards this design group, is it just something that by nature that, and this is why you need to bring in, I guess, in effect, product people or people who have the ability to straddle both worlds, because it is hard, because ultimately at the end of the day, we all want simple solutions, and sadly in the political world, you see that play out in a big way, where they just blame one group and just focus the message on just blame that group, and we'll win, right? I guess that's really what my question to you is it actually a kind of thing where the two sides will never really meet, and it'll only be the occasional, great person that can really straddle you? Or do you think it actually is a solvable problem?
I think it's a solvable problem.
Okay.
I think that we should not look out for that great person that can straddle both. Yeah. We should become that great person. I think a part of my growing up as well was like, my mom's from a background from India, right? Yeah. And she's always had this context of like, oh yeah, we're small-minded, like we can't be that. I'm like, my philosophy is like, we all have the same brain. We can all like mold it and frame it to fit successes for us. It's like, how do we mold and form the conversation within ourselves to be the great person? Everyone has the capacity to be a great person and saddle both routes. Okay,
and I mean, tell us a little bit about your own path then to, how you got to where you are, and I mean, to some extent as well as like why you left, quite a high-profile job at a very high-profile agency to do something a lot more risky.
Yeah, well, I went ahead and I built product design teams across all the leading innovation studios, from your AK Craze, your RGA, Fantasy. I got to a point where these traditional agencies weren't fitting a model that was fast, accelerative, and embedded into companies. Product design, as everyone knows, needs to be embedded, it needs to be fast, and be acceleration. It needs partnership to do that. But you have a traditional agency sitting on one side and a typical client behavior sitting on one side. You have a wall and an SOW that you're chucking things over. That's not how you do product. That's not how you make iterative, continuous success that drives business and drives value back to the users. So a lot of that came from understanding that the agency model was broken. So I had no choice, really. I had to start my own thing.
Right. Okay. So you just got fed up with that sort of behavior.
Yeah, I was like, the model needed something new for this economical shift as well. You can't spend 4 million on a website anymore. It's like, what do you do now?
So, I mean, you seem to, I mean, it's a situation where you've always kind of embodied both, like how design and business, if you will.
Yeah.
So, have you seen others make the journey from one side to the other and learn how to really embrace both sides?
Oh, 100%. Every time we come into an organization of a larger scale, we do a lot of digital transformation work. Digital transformation not being the fluffy term, but the maturity of actually how you deal and get wins in with the stakeholders has been a massive part of our job at Format 3 as well. Of actually, anywhere we go into, we help them actually formulate a conversation and dialect with stakeholders that gets them to do the things they want to do.
Okay. And the question here from the audience, when you say a design system or feature will save a business X pounds, how can you get enough info to give them a ballpark figure?
From a design system perspective, that one's an interesting one, been raised a few times. But you can look at how long a design system, how long the time has been taken to build out a singular page versus how long it takes to actually build out the system, and how many pages of those can you get out in frequency compared to how many pages can you get out in individual senses. So you'll see there's a formula. Talk to me at the pub. I have a formula somewhere inside my deck somewhere, but there's a formula of how we can work that out from time to effort.
Great. Hardy, thank you so much.
Thank you.